Good afternoon, 24th February 21. Disruption, justice, rotten apple. And with 1 year coronavirus, aren't you ashamed, judges, that we have this situation? But let me tell you what other things you have to do before reputation endangers your sector, area of competence, all involved there. And let's go. First of all is C legislation. We would appreciate some kind of compromise from all the judges worldwide that you have been so efficient with the coronavirus. You please repeat it with the C legislation. We have our own indemnities, we have protection and indemnity clubs, we have our own labor law, international agreements, labor agreements, tax free like Estonia. Thank you very much, Estonia, for declaring. Now, judges, can you get your hands off, please, the legislation of the seafarers? We will do it much better. We will simplify. We will get arbitration much more competitive in 24/7, not instantly. And we are fighting towards that very, very hard. So please get your hands off the legislation of seafarers and all kind of sea legislation. You are not with the 5% indicator ready to swim. Even you are at risk, because that means we will have to go and risk our lives to take you ashore, and therefore it's not worthwhile. Please leave it at the maritime community to solve the maritime issues. And we have International Maritime Organization, International Labour Organization, International Chamber of Shipping, International Maritime Employers. We have huge legislation, maritime, like the UK legislation that is beautiful in Singapore, and we have established this kind of very clear, transparent, efficient, disruptive system since 3,000 years ago, and we want to unify this, and we will get soon done. Then, okay, next area that we would like to ask you, please, judges, could you get with the bullying done? 6-year-olds need to have this preventive system. It's too late for your corrective sentences. Now, please get this preventively throughout these kids, and we would eliminate a lot of bad situations worldwide. Then we have also got these the bankruptcy laws. We have seen how this 1 year health right of humans, where is it now? This has realized into a lot of small, medium companies worldwide, and even big companies going bankrupt because of tax, not coronavirus. Now, if we go to intensive care, judge, if you, judge, go to intensive care, you would like to get out of it? Me too, yes, of course. And then the success ratio would be 100%. It would be lovely. I pray that we have this 100% success ratio, that no one has to go to intensive care. But if a company worldwide goes to intensive care, is it time that now that you went to university, you really did something good for the planet and the small, medium companies that provide 90% of employment? That worldwide there was a declaration that bankruptcy laws would really be 24/7 with the debt restructuring and with the whole areas done in 24 hours? Or will you leave your friends, vampires of lawyers, of this kind of area of competence that surround you, judge, eliminate, and again have a 5% life ratio after bankruptcy declaration, which is, for example, in Spain or any other countries, so complicated. There's so many vampires around this system that really the only option to get out intensive care unit Could you really explain to your kids that this success ratio is because you are not changing nothing the last 50 years? Could you disrupt this so that all, for example, shipyard here in Bilbao, we had a shipyard about 100 years experience making building ships. They had a contract with a very big, I think it was Van Oort or Jan de Nul dredging company, and then instead of restructuring the whole debt and blah, 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 then simply we put that company under bankruptcy. Now they are going to sell the land to the government because that's all they do, land, government, which is a conflict of interest. Governments must own no land because the land is for humans, I guess, and not for governments because they have priority. Now, then this company just went bankrupt, and we could be a state-of-the-art building ships, and but it was not possible. So this is because of you, Judge. You've done nothing last 100 years to modify the bankruptcy laws so that the companies, big, small, one was a big one, that go to bankruptcy, then intensive care unit success ratio is 5%. Whilst if we go to intensive care because coronavirus, then would it be nice to have 100% success ratio? Yes. Well, please then act together, judges. Get your indicators of 5% efficiency, or just please leave go. Leave the Z and millennials do much cheaper than you and with 100% efficiency. And this intensive care is very important that the companies worldwide have the same system. That in the USA, for example, thank you very much, USA, they have this system that you can restructure a company, and that involves that the rest of the cells of the company, suppliers and areas of competence and groups of interest do not die. And it's very, very important because then the shipyard killed so many indirect jobs, like 10, 15 more jobs, and this is not possible because if one cell is eliminated, then the other 10 around it could push this intrinsic value compounded. Now, Judge, it's time you change these laws, isn't it? That's why you went to university? Well, why did they pay that money? I don't really understand this. Okay, then the next question is VAT for lawyers. Judge, you must really look at solving this because if your partners, the lawyers, get the 21% VAT, income tax so high, I'm sure that you don't like this situation. The next thing is that the rotten apples, we have workers that if you have one rotten apple in your company, you cannot fire this person for free. Yes, well, this is like when you go to the Palace of Justice, it's full of these communist papers. You have that, it's a conflict of interest. That should not be allowed. Because the same right that one that pays for that justice like me doesn't have to be watching how that money we pay the business persons. This utility, it becomes inutility and also a massive propaganda for the communist justice. And therefore, it means that this is why you have 7-year sentences, which should be in 24 hours. This is really something you must solve very, very fast and not giving the sentences to the rotten apples. Because if you give the sentences to the rotten apples, then you get the rotten lawyers, and then you get the rotten justice, and then you get the rotten historical records of really reputation yourself, justice rotten. Yes, very simple. Now, all judges worldwide must really make a point, like we did in Finland, and try to make this communication to the Spanish judges, to any other kind of judges, because justice is fundamental, that we have these preventive ways of health, vaccines, and also of these intensive care units for companies. Companies that have fought so much, these business persons, whether big or large or medium, they have the right that when they need some kind of intensive care, they all get a survival highest rate, and that, of course, they don't pass the virus, the rotten virus, because of you, Judge, to the indirect collateral compounded utility and employment. Yes. And if we do this in your palace, yeah, please Try to tell politicians that there is 50,000 buildings worth 300 billion. This, they will be your pension. And then we also have these 5 million workers, public workers of the government, which we don't know what they are doing, but if they are doing something below 100%, we paid 100% indicator of your wage, then why don't we have to get 5% back? I'm sorry, you must fire 95% of that cost. And also the piece of art, yes, this is historic, take away this art from humans. No, just sell it and pay the pensions and give them better schools and give them better everything. Now, also, if we have a 5% tax rate worldwide for health, security, education, that's all it costs. I made calculations, I can do it at 2% worldwide. Yes, why don't you contract me? I can solve this administration of health, education, and security worldwide, because they have to really share these costs and the overheads, and it is possible with these new disruptive technologies that we have here. So I think we have enough areas of thought to preventively justice put it at work today and disrupt this justice department. The main thing is that, as the very intelligent investors always say, focus, please judge, focus. And the first thing you have to focus in is, do companies have the right of getting out of intensive care unit? Yes. Why is it so important that we get the intensive care unit 100% success ratio for all worldwide companies? Because they provide employment and it is going to be a luxury. Okay, point number one. Two, bullying. I'm not going to talk about bullying, because if you are not doing preventive justice, only corrective, if you're not doing preventive justice, it is too late. And you are paid to do preventive justice. If you are not ready to do preventive justice, please, you are free to go. I mean, I'm not saying to you go. You are saying it to yourself, because you only provide the 5% success ratio, and therefore you're not 100% efficient. But we pay 100% tax for you. Yeah, so come on, get your act together. And then I hope you really like much this video. There's a telephone call. I have to leave you. Take care, judges. Please, we have to work in a positive way so that we get these things done. It's very, very, very important that you get your act together, judges, because now it is a huge opportunity to disrupt justice, to eliminate this intensive care unit success ratio of 5%, eliminate these vampires that live out of almost dead companies, eliminate these taxes in your area of competence, because if you have 50,000 public buildings worth 300 billion filled with 5 million people doing nothing, and also an art of 1 trillion, I mean, it really, how much longer you want your kids to earn minimum wage? Because I can tell you from our experience today, since 1 year ago, the wages worldwide are like this. Before it was like this. Before it was like this. Now it's like this. So then 2% of humans will have all the wealth of 98, and the wages of your kids are not going the right place. And if we add a tax of 5%, if every company that started up, then we would guarantee that every time they go to intensive care, that we would do the best, and that we would not pass the virus to others. And that every kid will be happy, neither bullied or bullier. Yes, but that would be different. And perhaps with a tax of 5%, we can manage that. If there is any light of utility in the business, that we can simply help it. And for that, you must also think, what are the rotten apples you have in one company? One worker could be the rotten apple of all. In the Palace of Justice, sentences of 7 years, that's not possible. It must be 1 minute, 2 minutes, and so on. So anyway, thank you very much indeed for your time. Have a very nice justice for all of us. Thank you. Bye.